The first day we oiled and stored our mail and weapons, for they would not be needed aboard the ship, and the salt air would rust them. Then we set to repairing the pieces of equipment and clothes which had been damaged. The ship's sailmaker, a wizened little man, helped us, for a few coins, of course, to repair the larger items. We knew not when we would be able to buy new clothes, and we had been forced to leave our homeland, and we had not had the opportunity to acquire new ones. Both of us had brought coin from Rome, and we had promissory notes for Constantinople. So long as we were careful, the money would eke out. The rest of the time we exercised. It amused the captain when we asked if we could aid his crew when they hoisted and lowered the sails. He did not know that it was not us doing him the favour, but the other way around. Ridley was still recovering from the wounds he had received when capturing Jorvik from the Normans, and I had never truly recovered my strength after the wounds I suffered at Stamford Bridge. We both enjoyed working with the sailors, who soon got over their amusement at two housecarls working as seamen. They were good company, and we enjoyed singing their songs with them. We also spent some time with Canute, who was a Dane serving on the ship, for he taught us a few words as we toiled across the grey and black sea. He was a good teacher, and we quickly learned the words we needed. I knew that we would have a long journey down to Constantinople. One night, after a supper of dried meat and week-old bread, washed down with the weakest beer I have ever drunk, we asked Canute about the route to Byzantium. He shook his head. "I've only ever done that once, masters, and I swore never to do it again. You sail through the land of the Rus, across lakes and rivers. The people who live there are savages, and the boats have to sail in numbers for protection. Then there are the portages." "Portages? Is that a Danish word?" He laughed. "I know not where the word comes from, but it is a cursed word in any case. It means you empty the boat and carry it and your belongings overland until you find the next piece of water. The savages and barbarians who live in the land know that the merchants have to do this, and they attack each time you do that." Ridley could not comprehend such a journey. "Why do the ships do that, then? Why not sail around the coast? A much longer journey, and there are many pirates and storms. No, the merchants take the risk because the prizes are so rich. Byzantium pays much for the wood and furs from Rus, and the merchants can buy spices quite cheaply to sell at home. Oft-times the ships sail in little groups for protection." He looked shrewdly at the two of us. "If I were you two, I would hire myself out as guards to a merchant, and you will be paid to travel on the ships." "Thank you, Canute. That makes sense, for we would have the same hardship whether we were paid or we were passengers." "Are the ships like this one?" I knew what Ridley was thinking. These ships were so big that it was inconceivable that they could be carried. Canute laughed. "No, they are like the dragon boats. You mainly row them, unless you are lucky enough to catch the wind. They are quite light, and they are low to the water, for there are no high waves on the rivers and the lakes." We were 5 days from Leith, and according to our new friend Canute, about to begin to turn east to our destination, when we saw the pirates. There were 3 small dragon boats, and they were approaching from the northwest. "Look like Orkney Vikings, nasty buggers they are." He looked at us as we hauled on the ropes to get the maximum sail. "They were the ones who you lot beat at Stamford Bridge. That is where they went." We could see them gaining on us. Ridley shook his head. "These Norns that the Danes have, spinning webs, they are cunning, aren't they?" "They are that, and if they catch us and find out who we are, then I am afraid we would not have a glorious end." I wondered, as we pulled and tugged on the thick rope, if the captain might not offer us in exchange for his freedom. Our fame had spread before us, and we were known amongst the Danes at least. I glanced up at the captain, who seemed oblivious both to the danger and to us. I took heart from the fact that he was not concerned. He kept glancing up at the masthead pennant and nodding. I saw why, as the bow turned slightly south and the wind was on our quarter. I had learned such terms from the sailors. We suddenly leapt forwards.